Sage for a second here, and today we're looking at the final faction Specialist Amari and Specialist Riptide. So these two just hit my local Dollar Tree here in North Carolina. I've got Amari and Riptide to join my final faction crew. Now, looking at this here, obviously it's great to have another female figure join the cast and crew. And of course, always cool to get a different figure that's going to go to a different area. Like this guy's an underwater guy. So like he's got the diving gear and everything. So these two figures are rounding out this lineup in a great way. Now, of course, I'm going to talk about some pros and cons. Obviously, we're still looking at 4 to 5 points of articulation. Basically, there's the legs kick forward. They basically will go back so they can sit or stand. There's no knee, elbow, or any other articulation. So basically, articulation is really the weakest point on these figures. And this is what we were expecting it to be. I mean, this figure line is a value at only $1.25 when you buy it from the Dollar Tree. And so essentially, you're not expecting to get a fully articulated figure for only $1.25. Now, articulation, I would say Amari is going to hit the same thing most of the Final Faction figures are going to hit, which is 2.5 to 3 on articulation. Not a very high score. Basically, not a statue, but not a very good score. So basically, we'll say 2.5. Right in the middle of 4 out of 5 stars. As far as paint, so we're looking at Amari first. So Amari comes with, both black sculpt on the figure itself, and then on the arms and on the head, they do have flesh tone as far as for the plastic. Now they have painted the figure jacket, which is supposed to be a bomber jacket, according to the storyline. Unless her dad was part of the Golden Eagles or something, I don't know why it's gold. Except for they thought it would look better with her bracelets, or they only wanted to pay for one paint when they're choosing to cut costs for paint and stuff. Now, the good thing is the jacket paint does go all the way around the figure, so you do get painted on back and on the arms of the jacket. The mohawk does have paint, and they've done a pretty good job of keeping the hair part of the mohawk painted. There's maybe a little bit they could have painted a little better right there. So as far as paint goes, I'm still going to go with basically a 2.5 because they got some extra paint on the arm here where basically they missed their mark a little bit. Like the gold is a little over the lines, as it were. So not a great job there for articulation and paint. Now, as far as sculpt and design, I love the sculpt they got going on here. It's very much reminiscent of like an MCU character or other like sci-fi characters where they have a bodysuit on and then they have some stuff to make them stand apart from just being somebody wearing a bodysuit. Obviously, they got a lot of detailed sculpt on here. You even have different textures like on the legs. I don't know if you can see it in this light, but there's textures right here where obviously it's supposed to be like leathers or something. Sorry about that beeping sound. The boots are sculpted real good. The whole figure has a really good sculpt. So I'm going to give this sculpt actually, a 4.5. So we got a 4.5 on sculpting, design, whatever you want to call it. As far as cool factor, all she comes with is her accessory of a baseball bat. It is a cool accessory. But in the artwork we originally saw for the figure, there were other weapons, there were other gear, and I kind of feel like it's kind of weird, like, you get Amari in the same wave as Riptide. Amari only has a bat. She doesn't have a gun. She's fighting aliens. Obviously, she's supposed to kick butt. This bat is pretty cool. I just feel like they're missing the mark a little bit here when they don't, have essentially weapons for her to fight except for a bat. I mean, I've never seen anybody be like, let's go ahead and just give all the soldiers bats instead of guns. As far as our diver, he not only has his diving mask, which comes off. He has the color change factor. He has harpoons. I mean, these figures cost the same thing, but he has like 3 times the accessories she does. And obviously, he had to have a diving mask unless they sculpted it all on. He had to have, his harpoons because they're part of his signature weapons and everything. But at the same time, like if you're talking cool factor, I think Amari got a little shortchanged here and is only going to get a like 3.5. So as far as Amari goes, that's going to rate out my scoring for Amari. Really cool addition to the team, Alpha team, for Final Faction. I will definitely be using a lot of these in customs, as well as maybe repainting a few of these more to match the cartoon itself, because I think that was a better look for her in some ways. And I'll be giving her more guns. I mean, the good thing about the Final Faction is they have plenty of accessory packs and stuff like that. Moving right along to Riptide. Like I said, Riptide is still going to have the same articulation score, 2.5, because he's only 5 points of articulation, just like Amari. The arm goes all the way around. The head turns left and right. Of course, the legs kick out, just like you would expect for 5 points of articulation. Very retro Star Wars style. As far as paint, he does have paint all over the front of him, but you can see they did cut back a little bit on the paint on the back. So, basically I'm going to go with, a 3 here for paint. 3 out of 5. They only got the 2 colors. They did a good job, though. I don't really feel like maybe he should be a 3. Yeah, 3 out of 5. Because Amari had a little bit worse paint issues. Anyway, as far as the paint job goes, I can obviously fix that and, paint his other gear and web gear and stuff like that. But, he's still a cool figure. He's got those color change things going on. So as far as the sculpt, they do this with divers a lot where they put a hole in the front of their chest. It looks like they've been shot if they're not using their gear. Is he supposed to walk around with this on all the time? I mean, obviously, he's mostly going to be in missions where he goes in the water. So as far as a toy goes, I feel like if they had made some sort of harness or hook for this to go into instead of just another peg hole, that might have been better off. But overall design, as he's got the harpoons, he's got the little jets on his legs so he can swim in the water. He looks very military with his flat top haircut. I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5 for design. Overall cool factor, I mean, he's an old white dude in a wetsuit. I don't know, I don't know how to score that, except to say that he's obviously got some cool stuff where he can go and attack underwater. So I'm just going to pretend that since most of his missions will be in the water, that he's going to mostly look like this. And that would be pretty scary if that came up on me. So I'm going to give him, a 4 out of 5 on cool factor. Anyway, as far as this figure goes, it's just another great addition to the Final Faction. Both Amari and Riptide are happy to join the team. If you like these videos, like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, pour on the plastic.